Before the story begins, take a slow, gentle breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel the air move softly, like a breeze through leaves. Let your shoulders relax, your hands grow still, and your thoughts begin to quiet, as if you were standing at the edge of a peaceful valley, bathed in soft, golden light. You don't need to do anything right now. You don't need to hurry anywhere. You are safe, you are warm, and you are exactly where you need to be. Now, imagine yourself slowly drifting toward a land far, far away, a place known only in whispers and dreams, a land called the Kingdom of Yawns. It is said that every breath of wind here carries a sigh, every ripple in the lakes hums a lullaby, and even the stars blink more slowly than anywhere else. This is where your story begins. The Kingdom of Yawns lies hidden between soft hills of velvet moss and valleys filled with sleepy mist. You find yourself walking along a cobblestone path lined with glowing mushrooms, each one lighting your way with a faint, drowsy shimmer. Above you, the moon is round and kind, casting a pale silver blanket across the land. You can hear gentle sounds all around, the rustle of dream leaves, the quiet drip of dew gathering on petals, and somewhere in the distance, a slow, rumbling snore that echoes through the hills, like thunder that forgot how to be loud. That sound, you realize, must belong to the Sleepiest Dragon. Legends say this dragon was once the guardian of dreams, a great, shimmering creature who kept the night calm and guided sleepy travelers through their slumber. But over time, the dragon grew so fond of resting, so enchanted by the hush of night, that he began to sleep longer and longer until his naps lasted entire seasons. Now, the people of the Kingdom of Yawns say his snores shape the rhythm of the stars themselves. When he inhales, the moon glows brighter. When he exhales, the night sighs softer. You walk further down the path, feeling the air grow warmer, cozier, as if the land itself were wrapped in a giant blanket. The scent of honey and wild lavender drifts through the breeze. A gentle owl hoots once, then twice, then decides to nap again. You reach a small bridge made of polished stone, arching over a slow-moving stream. The water glows faintly from the light of dream fireflies, tiny golden orbs that float just above the surface. As you cross, one of them lands gently on your hand. Its warmth is soft and soothing, like the first sip of tea on a cold night. Beyond the bridge lies the Valley of Pillows, where clouds drift so low they brush the ground. You can see distant shapes, round, cushiony hills that almost look like someone scattered enormous quilts across the land. You follow the path, your steps becoming slower, heavier, more relaxed. Each one feels softer than the last, as if the earth itself were encouraging you to rest. At the center of the valley is a lake so still that it looks like a mirror made of silk, and there, across its surface, you finally see him, the Sleepiest Dragon. He is enormous, yet peaceful. His scales shimmer in the moonlight, changing color from soft silver to pale blue to the faint blush of morning clouds. He lies curled upon a mountain of cushions and moss, his wings tucked neatly like folded blankets. With every exhale, a small puff of sparkling mist drifts upward and dissolves into stars. You can feel his calmness reaching you, a wave of serenity rolling through the valley. Even the wind seems to hold its breath, As you stand by the lake, you hear a quiet voice beside you. It's a small creature, a mouse wearing a tiny nightcap, its whiskers twitching with delight. "Ah," it says softly, "you've come to see the great sleeper, haven't you? Everyone does, sooner or later. He dreams the dreams of the whole kingdom. You know, when he rests well, we all do." You nod, feeling warmth and comfort spreading through your chest. The mouse yawns, stretching its tiny arms. Careful not to speak too loud, it whispers. He's in the middle of a particularly good dream about clouds made of pudding, I think. You both watch as the dragon's chest rises and falls, slow and steady. Each breath feels like a lullaby. You sit by the lake's edge, feeling the grass beneath you soft as feathers. The stars shimmer above, and for a moment, everything in the world feels balanced, quiet, and complete. The mouse curls up beside you, already half asleep. The dragon sighs deeply, sending a gentle ripple across the lake that reaches your toes. A touch of warmth, a whisper of rest. You close your eyes for just a moment, and the world seems to hum in perfect harmony. The trees sway slowly, the water murmurs softly, and the night wraps you up like a story you've always known. The sleepiest dragon continues to dream, and now you are part of that dream. You linger at the lake's edge, letting the stillness settle into you like a soft quilt. The water looks so polished and calm that you could almost believe it's asleep, two resting quietly under the moon's warm, silver gaze. A breeze passes across your skin with the gentleness of a lullaby, carrying the scent of honeyed clover and fresh dew. Nearby, the little mouse in the nightcap gives a tiny sneeze, more of a whisper than a sound, and tucks its paws beneath its chin. "He'll sleep for a while yet," the mouse murmurs, eyes half closed. "But if you'd like to feel the dream more closely, you might cross the water." A pause. "There's a ferry." You look out across the lake, and at first you see only your reflection, calm and steady, your breathing slow. Then the dream fireflies begin to rearrange themselves, drifting into a path of faint golden lights, beads of drowsy starlight floating toward the far shore where the dragon slumbers. The path is so soft, so reassuring, that your feet feel already lighter, as if the lake itself is inviting you to glide. The mouse lifts one tiny paw and points toward a wooden landing you hadn't noticed before. It looks as though it grew there, shaped by time and the quiet kindness of the water. A bell hangs from a little hook at the end of the dock, adorned with a tassel of pale blue threads. You ring it once gently, like you would knock on a door in a house where everyone is peacefully napping. The sound that falls into the night is tender, a single note that seems to hum in your chest. In response, the lake gives a lazy sigh, and from beneath the surface rises a ferry, unlike any you've seen. It is not exactly a boat, more of a floating bed, woven from willow branches and tufted with thick, cream-colored cushions. At the prow, a carved wooden swan bows its head in greeting, and on the mid-rail, a lantern glows low and warm, like a candle deciding to tell a secret. A ferryman appears, or perhaps you should say a fairy turtle, for it is a soft-shelled creature the size of a small table, wearing a waistcoat stitched with tiny constellations. His shell gleams like polished moonstone, and his voice is unhurried, deliciously slow. "Good evening," he says, as though saying the words over a cup of sleep, warm tea. "My name is Tulliver. I ferry those who wish to cross the lake of silken dreams without waking the surface." You place a hand upon the rail. It's smooth, as if someone has spent a lifetime polishing it with lullabies. Tulliver nods toward the cushions. Make yourself comfortable. We travel by hush. The mouse hops aboard and curls into a perfect comma beside the lantern. You follow, sinking into the cushions, which give with a soft sigh that matches your own exhale. Tulliver dips a paddle, not wood, but a fan of giant leaves into the water. The lake accepts the movement with a sleepy ripple that taps the side of the ferry like gentle knuckles at a friendly door. And off we drift, Tulliver announces, as though declaring the first line of a bedtime poem. The boat glides so quietly that you can hear the faint brush of dream fireflies against the air, a delicate shiver that feels like silk. The lantern light paints the inside of your eyelids. When you blink, a friendly amber glow that seems to hum, rest, rest, rest. You listen to the lake, speak in slow syllables against the hull, and somewhere far away, the dragon breathes. Inhale, exhale. The rhythm filters through the night, as reliable as the tide, as comforting as a mother's song. You let your hands relax upon your lap and take in the night. On either side, the shore drifts by like pages turning in a book you know by heart. The grasses along the bank lean forward and whisper compliments to the water. The reeds appear to be wearing small nightcaps too, each tipped with a bead of dew. The air tastes faintly of vanilla and clean linen. You feel the ferry gather the hush around you like a shawl. You know, Tulliver says after a while, the dragon's dreams are very generous. He dabs the paddle again. When he dreams of orchards, the fruit in our valley ripens sweet. When he dreams of rain, it falls in little lullabies. And when he dreams of travelers, Tulliver gives you a knowing look. The road always knows the way. What does he dream of tonight? You ask, your voice barely louder than the lake's gentle strokes. Tulliver tilts his head, listening. Pillows, he says, and puddings that taste like the first day of vacation, and clouds that tug at the moon with strings of soft laughter. He dreams of a library where the books hum bedtime stories to each other after closing, and of a friend arriving by water. The mouse peeks one eye open and yawns. That must be you, it manages, before sleep folds it back into quiet. Ahead, the dragon's hill grows larger, more nest than mountain. You notice layers upon layers of softness, moss embroidered with dandelion stars, cushions stitched from quilts of dawn, shawls of mist draped over curved stones that look like sleeping seals. The air is warmer here, scented with something like baked milk and almond blossoms. The water grows calmer still, though you had not believed that possible until the ferry is scarcely moving at all, and yet you are closer with each blink. As you approach the far, landing a mirror to the one you left, Tulliver sets the leaf paddle aside and coughs a little cough that is really more of a nap. We have arrived, he says, and you feel the words as much as hear them, like a soft bell rung inside your chest. You step ashore. The ground gives under your feet in the loveliest way, like bread rising in an oven, like a cloud deciding it would like to be a blanket. The dream fireflies form a gentle arch above a pathway of woven grasses. You follow the light. If you listen very carefully, you can hear a choir of moths practicing scales in the hedges. They sing only in sighs and are terribly proud of how quiet they can be. The dragon is close now. You can sense his presence more than see it, a field of calm so wide that it smooths every thought that enters it. When you finally do see him, your breath catches, not in surprise, but in that deep, appreciative way one sighs at a sunset or a perfectly made bed. He is vast, yes, but the vastness feels reassuring. His scales, up close, are not hard plates, but rounded lozenges, like river stones warmed by sunlight. They glow with the softest colors: pearl, bluebell, cream. His eyelids are closed and peaceful, online with dreams, and the edges of his mouth are curved into the smallest smile, like someone who has just remembered a good, gentle thing. His horns are not sharp. They spiral like the edges of seashells. One wing lies slightly open, and it looks like a canopy woven from dawn and hush. You feel you might spend a lifetime describing the way the light rests on that wing, the way the air seems to hum kindly around him, the way your own body seems to understand that in the presence of such calm, everything in you can soften further still. Without opening his eyes, the dragon inhales, and the moss beneath your feet rises a finger width, as if in greeting. He exhales, and the dream fireflies dim with contentment. You do not know whether what happens next is a thought, a feeling, or a whisper that didn't come from any mouth at all, but you understand it perfectly. Welcome, says the sense of it. Rest here. The night is long enough for your softness, and the morning is patient. A gentle blanket of warmth settles across your shoulders, and when you glance up, you find that a shawl of mist has draped itself there, fragrant with lavender and something like vanilla sugar. It is exactly the weight you like. You sit on a cushion beside the dragon, and you relax into its gentle give until your breathing matches his. Inhale, like the tide brushing the shore. Exhale, like a leaf setting down upon still water. Tulliver, who has somehow arrived beside you without disturbing even a thought, places a low tray in the grass. On it, 3 tiny cups of steam rise from a tea so pale it's almost opal. He pours from a pot carved of driftwood and dew, and the aroma is quiet. That is the only word for it. A fragrance that asks nothing of you and gives you back all the minutes you ever lost worrying about the clock. Night bloom tea, he explains, his voice just above a whisper. Steeped in moonlight and sweetened with yawn honey. It won't make you sleep unless you want to. It merely clears a path to comfort. You lift the cup, its warmth fitting into your palms, as though it has always known the shape of your hands. The first sip tastes like the inside of a peaceful memory, smooth, milk, soft, with a hint of oat and a breath of vanilla. The second sip unfolds into a suggestion of starfruit and warm bread. By the third, you are not sure you are drinking at all. Perhaps the tea is drinking, you sipping away the little edges of thinking and polishing your eyelids from the inside. The dragon shifts slightly, the sound no louder than a cat turning in its sleep. A cluster of cushions sighs in unison. You feel a glow of companionship rise around you, like sitting with an old friend who doesn't need any words. The mouse snores adorably into its nightcap, and you smile, your face soft enough to be its own feather pillow. Would you like a tour? Tulliver asks, after a time, one brow lifting slowly in the most courteous suggestion you've ever seen. We keep the valley's best napping nooks nearby. The hammock groves are particularly proud tonight, and the whispering orchard is humming in a key that flatters even the shyest of listeners. You look toward a path that curls between moon-pale trees. The leaves tremble with the gentlest of lullabies, like the memory of rain on a roof when you are safe inside. Somewhere beyond, a brook mumbles its pleasant nothings to a bed of rounded stones. The time for wandering feels right soft exploration, the kind that asks nothing of you but a willing heart and, perhaps, a pocket open to gathering small comforts. You rest a hand against the dragon's wing, only the air above it, not the wing itself. A respectful, almost touch and feel the warmth of his dream glide through your fingers like silk. The understanding returns, that wordless welcome, as if the dragon has noticed your intention and approves in that peaceful, timeless way of great, kind beings. Go, the feeling says, gentle as a pillow being fluffed. All paths here lead to rest. Tulliver rises, every movement unhurried, and gestures down the path. The dream fireflies string themselves into soft constellations that drift along at a perfect walking pace, neither too eager nor too slow, simply in tune with the quiet you carry. You set your cup upon the tray. It empties itself with a contented sigh, as if the tea had wished to be exactly where it went to the warm place inside you where calm begins. With your shawl of mist around your shoulders and the lake hushed behind you, you step into the silver-dappled path. The grass brushes your ankles with the feather lightness of friendly thoughts. The air is cool on your cheeks, warm in your lungs. Somewhere far back, the dragon's gentle breathing keeps time for the night, a metronome set to kindness. You follow the floating stitches of light into the dream-quiet grove, where hammocks sway without wind and pillows grow like fruit from low, laughing branches. The Kingdom of Yawns hums a welcome, soft enough to be silence, and you feel yourself moving deeper into the heart of rest, guided by lanterns that remember everyone's favorite kind of calm. And so, step by soft step, you go on into comfort toward the hammock groves and the whispering orchard, where every leaf has a story, and every story knows how to let you sleep. The path unfolds before you like a ribbon of pale moss, faintly glowing beneath your steps. Each blade of grass bends, not in surrender, but in greeting, welcoming you deeper into the heart of the Kingdom of Yawns. The dream fireflies drift ahead, forming a trail of golden hushes that dance lazily through the trees. The air here feels thick with comfort, like warm milk and night air mixed with a hint of fruit blossoms. It hums with a quiet rhythm, the kind that moves through you rather than around you. Even your thoughts begin to sway gently, lulled by the peace of this place. Ahead, you see it, the whispering orchard. A vast grove of moonlit trees stretches into the mist, their branches heavy with silver fruit that glows softly from within. The fruits do not dangle like ordinary apples or pears. They float slightly above their stems, bobbing gently in the air, as if dreaming mid-air. Every few seconds one lets out a sleepy murmur, tiny words in a language of sighs and hums. You pause to listen. At first it sounds like wind through leaves. Then you realize the orchard is whispering stories. Each tree carries its own tale. A low murmur near you says, "Once there was a river who loved the sky so much that it learned to reflect." Another sighs softly, "Once there was a pillow that dreamed of being a cloud." And a particularly drowsy tree to your left yawns and mutters, "There once was a night so quiet, even the stars forgot to sparkle for a moment." Every whisper feels like a feather brushing across your mind, gentle, fleeting, utterly kind. Tulliver walks beside you, his soft shell gleaming faintly under the orchard's light. "The trees tell what the dragon dreams," he explains, his voice deep and slow as honey sliding off a spoon. "He dreams in stories, you see. The fruits are his thoughts, ripe and sweet. If you listen long enough, you can taste them." You tilt your head. "Taste them?" He nods. "Take one that feels like it's humming your name. You wander between the trees, feeling the cool mist curl around your ankles. The fruit all glow with different shades, some pale blue, some gentle gold, some with tiny specks of starlight swirling inside. One of them, a round, soft one, the color of early morning, floats a little closer to you, as if curious. You reach out, and it drifts right into your palms. It's warm, surprisingly so. The warmth feels alive, like a heartbeat. When you take a small bite, the flavor unfolds slowly. Honeyed cream, lavender, and something else, something that tastes like childhood naps on rainy afternoons. You smile without meaning to. It tastes like a memory you never lived but wish you had. That one, says Tulliver, is the dream of a raindrop who fell asleep before hitting the ground. You laugh quietly, the sound melting into the soft air around you. That's lovely. They all are, he says. Everyone is a kindness made into flavor. The little mouse in the nightcap, now fully awake and stretching adorably, hops onto your shoulder. Careful with the blue ones, it squeaks. Those make you hum lullabies for hours. The others, well, they make you dream about very polite clouds. You wander further through the orchard. The sound of the whispering trees is constant, but never intrusive. It's like background music, made of comfort. You touch a branch as you pass, and it leans down as if bowing goodnight. The leaves feel like silk dipped in moonlight. Somewhere deeper in the grove, a brook begins to murmur, threading through the roots like silver thread through velvet. Its voice mingles with the trees, forming a lullaby that doesn't belong to any singer and yet belongs to everyone who listens. You follow it naturally, your feet finding the rhythm of the water's sleepy hum. Tulliver's deep voice rumbles beside you. This orchard grows from the dragon's earliest dreams, he says. When he first closed his eyes and discovered how soft the world could be. The mouse yawns wide. He must be very good at dreaming by now. Oh yes, Tulliver chuckles. He's a master of rest. The stars themselves take lessons. You come upon a clearing where the moonlight gathers in a bowl of air. In the center sits a single, enormous fruit tree, its trunk smooth and silver, the satin, its branches curling outward like arms in a loving embrace. The fruits here are larger, glowing with deeper warmth, and the whispers are songs. You sit down beneath it without thinking. The grass is impossibly soft, like clouds pressed into the shape of a meadow. The tree hums above you, the melody slow, unhurried, achingly gentle. It feels like a song you might have once heard in your sleep, a tune without beginning or end. Tulliver lowers himself onto the ground nearby, folding his legs beneath him. This one, he says softly, is called the heart of the orchard. It sings to those who carry peace within them. You tilt your head back and let the glow from the fruit fall across your face. Your eyelids grow heavy, but not in the way of exhaustion, more like your body understands that here nothing needs to be done except being. The mouse curls up on your lap again. The breeze sways the branches just enough to let the silver fruits clink together like gentle chimes. Would you like to rest a moment? Tulliver asks, voice now barely more than a hum. You nod, your breath slow and deep. Just a little, then let the orchard dream with you, he says. It knows how to keep watch. You lie back in the soft grass. The earth gives beneath you perfectly, as though it was made to cradle your shape. The scent of warm fruit and cool leaves drifts around you, and the soft chime song above begins to lull your mind into drifting images. You see a stream of stars trickling through the dragon's breath. You see gentle waves folding blankets of moonlight. You see a village tucked beneath clouds, its lanterns flickering like sleepy hearts. Each image fades into the next, soft and unhurried, and somewhere above, the orchard hums, not louder, but deeper, like it is harmonizing with your heartbeat. The mouse sighs in its sleep. Tulliver closes his eyes, and you, lying beneath the singing branches, feel the warmth of the dragon's dream wrap around you like silk. The last thing you hear, before drifting into a light, drowsy haze, is the orchard, whispering to you softly, sweetly, and true. You belong to the quiet now. Rest as the stars do. When you open your eyes again, the world around you hasn't changed. Not really yet. Everything feels softer, slower, as though the night itself has stretched out a little, just to make more room for peace. The air carries a faint shimmer, like powdered starlight sifting through stillness. Somewhere nearby, Tulliver is humming under his breath, a deep, gentle rhythm that seems to steady the ground beneath you. The mouse on your lap yawns, its whiskers twitching in slow motion. Well, it says drowsily, if you liked the orchard, you'll love the hammocks. Its tiny paw gestures toward a slope beyond the trees, where faint golden lights sway in the distance, like lanterns caught in a breeze that doesn't quite exist. You rise, brushing the starlit grass from your clothes, and follow the glow. The air grows warmer, scented faintly of linen, dried under sunlight, and the sweetness of vanilla blossoms. Every few steps, you catch the sigh of fabric gentle creaks and whispers that could almost be breathing. As the orchard fades behind you, the path opens into the hammock groves, an entire valley where hammocks stretch between luminous trees. Their trunks glow from within, like polished marble with moonlight trapped under the surface. The hammocks hang low and long, woven from strands of silver thread and dream grass, swaying slowly, even though the air is perfectly still, and they're everywhere. Hundreds, maybe thousands of hammocks, all moving at their own sleepy rhythm, like a sea of slow tides under a canopy of stars. A small sign carved into smooth stone greets you at the grove's entrance. The Napper's sanctuary, please whisper softly. Underneath the sign, someone has added, in smaller letters, snoring is a compliment. Tulliver chuckles as he reads it. The caretaker here has a good sense of humor. You can hear soft murmurs from the hammocks, around contented sighs, occasional murmured dreams. Some hammocks hold sleepy creatures, a hedgehog wrapped in a leaf blanket, a fox wearing tiny spectacles that have slid down its nose, a pair of doves tangled together in a nest of string and starlight. They all sway gently, faces turned toward the moon, as if listening to the world's quiet heartbeat. The air is rich with warmth and comfort. You breathe it in slowly, and feel the calm seep into you like honey through tea. A rabbit with golden fur hops out from behind a tree, wearing a silk scarf the color of dusk. It stands on its hind legs, gives a polite bow, and speaks in a voice like distant wind chimes. Welcome to the groves, it says. I'm Keeper Nimbin. Do you require a hammock for one, or two, or perhaps something more customizable? You smile. Just one. Thank you. Ah, says Nimbin approvingly, twitching an ear. A solo napper. Very refined. Follow me, please. It leads you down a path lined with tiny floating lanterns, their light pulsing faintly like the beat of a very slow drum. You pass hammocks of every size and material, one woven from morning mist, another made of clouds that seem to hum softly when touched, another filled with sand from dream beaches, shifting gently like waves in miniature. Finally, Nimbin stops beside a small clearing where a single hammock waits between two glowing trees. This one looks different, woven from threads of gold and soft, pale green, and it sways in a rhythm that matches your heartbeat even before you touch it. This one, says the rabbit, was spun by the spiders of silence. It knows how to hold a person without ever letting their thoughts fall. You run your fingers across the weave. It's warm and cool at once, impossibly smooth, like silk dipped in moonlight. The hammock dips slightly, inviting you in. As you settle into it, the fabric shapes itself perfectly around you. The air seems to sigh with contentment. A soft breeze curls under your arms and over your shoulders, like invisible hands tucking in a blanket. The moment you exhale, the hammock begins to sway, not from motion but from intention, as though it understands how to cradle you just right. The trees around you lean slightly closer, their leaves rustling in a harmony of hushes. Tulliver lowers himself onto a patch of moss nearby. The hammocks sing when they like you, he says. You listen, and yes, there it is, a faint melody woven into the fabric's movement. No words, no tune you can name, just warmth turned into sound. Each sway seems to melt something inside you that you didn't know was tight. The mouse perches on your chest, little paws clasped over its stomach. Try thinking of nothing, it suggests. It's the best way to hear the nap inside your own breathing. You smile, closing your eyes, and as you do, the grove begins to move with you. The sound of the hammocks becomes the sound of the ocean at its gentlest. The branches above mimic the rhythm of slow rain. Every inhale brings the smell of linen, moss, and starlight. Every exhale sends tiny dream fireflies into the air, pulsing once before fading. The entire grove breathes together hundreds of soft, synchronized sighs. It feels like sleeping inside a lullaby. After a while, minutes, hours, maybe no time at all, you feel something soft nudge your hand. You open your eyes to find Nimbin standing beside you, with a teacup balanced on a tray made from folded petals. Dream tea, it says quietly, grown in the soil beneath the hammocks. Each sip helps the body rest while letting the imagination wander. You accept it, the cup pleasantly warm in your hands. The tea glows faintly, pale blue with threads of light swirling lazily inside. When you take a sip, the flavor is soft and creamy, something like vanilla, but also like the quiet before rain. It feels like falling slowly through feathers. Tulliver sips his own cup and sighs happily. It's got that drifting taste tonight. Nimbin nods with pride. We steeped it under a yawn moon. You let your head sink deeper into the hammock. The glow of the lanterns above begins to blur slightly as your eyelids lower. Somewhere far away, you hear a lullaby sung by something unseen. A soft, low hum that reminds you of a dragon's breathing. The mouse snuggles closer, already asleep again. Tulliver hums along to the grove's rhythm, and Nimbin's voice drifts through your half-dream like a sigh wrapped in velvet. Here in the Kingdom of Yawns, the night has no edge, only softness that goes on forever. The hammock sways once more, and your consciousness rocks with it, gliding between wakefulness and dreams. Every motion says the same thing. You're safe here. You're held here. You can rest. You let go of the last bit of tension in your shoulders, and as the grove continues its eternal sway, you slip soundlessly into the gentlest drift, where even time decides to nap. You wake slowly, if waking is even the right word. It feels more like surfacing from a lake of dreams, the kind where the water is made of memory and moonlight. The hammock beneath you has stopped swaying, but you can still feel the rhythm in your breath, a gentle pulse that seems to whisper, "Stay easy, stay soft." When you open your eyes, the grove glows faintly blue. It's early in the night, though the sky looks like it's still deciding what color to be, somewhere between indigo and silver. The mouse stretches beside you, yawning wider than seems possible for such a small creature. "Morning already?" it murmurs. You smile. "Not morning, I think. Just another kind of quiet." Tulliver is nearby, sipping from a teacup and humming to himself. He looks up and says, "When one has rested in the hammocks, the night invites a different kind of journey. Would you like to see the river?" "The river?" you ask, your voice a little hoarse from silence. He nods, slow and content. The river of drowsy echoes. It remembers everything that was ever whispered in peace. The name itself feels like a lullaby. You rise, the hammock releasing you with a soft sigh, and follow the glowing path that curls gently out of the grove. The air cools slightly, carrying the scent of rain-soaked moss and something faintly sweet like sugar melted in dew. The path widens until you see it, a ribbon of silver water winding through a hollow valley. It moves so slowly that it's hard to tell if it's flowing or simply breathing. The surface gleams with reflections of stars, though, curiously, they seem to move differently from the ones above. Some drift sideways, some ripple when no breeze passes, some fade and reappear like sighs that change their mind. "This," says Tulliver, "is where sounds come to rest." He dips one claw into the water, and the ripples that spread out hum softly, like the tail end of a lullaby fading into sleep. When someone speaks softly enough, when they whisper with care or comfort or kindness, their words float here. They drift down the hills, slide along the roots, and come to rest in this river. You kneel by the bank, listening. At first, you hear only the murmur of the current. Then, as your breathing slows, faint voices begin to weave through the air. A mother telling her child, "Hush now, my love." A friend saying softly, "It's all right." Someone far away whispering to themselves, "Breathe." None of the words are clear enough to pull you out of calm. They move together like threads in a single, vast fabric. You can feel them brush against you, not with sound, but with intention. It feels, you begin, but can't find the right word, like you've remembered something you never lost. Tulliver finishes. You nod. Yes, exactly that. The river's edge is lined with strange stones, smooth, rounded, and translucent. Each one glows faintly, pulsing with a rhythm you can almost recognize. You touch one, and for an instant, it sings. Not loudly, not musically, just a hum, a sound that matches your heartbeat. Then it quiets again, content. "The stones," says Tulliver, "hold the river's memories. Sometimes they sing to travelers who carry a quiet heart." The mouse climbs onto one of the stones, its tiny paws leaving no imprint. "Can we take one home?" it asks hopefully. Tulliver smiles. "No need. They follow when they're ready." The mouse nods, as if that makes perfect sense. Across the river, you notice a bridge, if it can be called that. It's made not of wood or stone, but of mist and light. The mist gathers itself into faintly shimmering planks that reform with each step. You hesitate. Tulliver's deep chuckle rolls like a purr. The bridge isn't built until you walk it. The river trusts footsteps that mean no harm. You take a breath, slow and steady, and step onto the bridge. The mist solidifies beneath your feet, cool, damp, but supportive. The river hums softly below, like it's aware of your crossing, Halfway across, you pause to look down. The water is full of drifting lights, now memories and murmurs that glow like lanterns under glass. You see a pair of hands lighting candles, a child sleeping against a dog's fur, rain falling on a library window while someone hums. Each image passes through the current like a leaf through air untouchable, yet deeply known. The mouse leans over the edge, whiskers twitching. It's like the dragon's dream decided to collect souvenirs. You smile at the thought. Maybe it did. On the far side of the bridge, the land opens into a wide meadow, all velvet grass and silver dew. The river curves lazily beside it, looping back like a cat curling into sleep. At the meadow's center stands a single enormous lantern, so tall that its light reaches the clouds and paints them gold. It doesn't flicker, it breathes. That's the lantern of listening, says Tulliver softly. It keeps the night gentle. You approach it, and even before you reach the base, you can feel its warmth spreading across your skin. It's not hot, only comforting like sunlight remembered by your bones. The lantern hums, and you realize it's echoing every calm sound in the valley, the flow of water, the wind in the grass, even your own heartbeat. You rest a hand against its base, smooth as silk. The hum deepens, and you feel something pass through you, not a word, not an image, but a feeling that everything you've ever released into the quiet, every sigh, every kind word, every drowsy thought has been kept here, safe, waiting for you. It's an overwhelming peace, but not heavy. You let it wash through you like warm light through glass. Tulliver doesn't speak, nor does the mouse. There's no need. The lantern's glow wraps the meadow, softening every edge of shadow. The stars above slow their twinkling until they look like they're just blinking sleepily, fighting the urge to close their eyes. You sit down on the cool grass, the hum filling your chest, your arms, the quiet space behind your eyes. You can almost feel yourself becoming part of the rhythm, one more gentle sound added to the river's lullaby. After a long while, Tulliver says, when the dragon breathes in, he pulls the river's peace into his dreams. When he exhales, he sends it back out again. The whole kingdom rests between his breaths. You close your eyes and listen closely. Inhale, exhale. Yes, you can feel it. Faint, but certain. The whole world moves in time with a sleeping dragon's breath. The mouse tugs lightly at your sleeve. It's nice here, it says. Do we have to go? You look across the meadow to where the mist curls into another path, faint, silver, inviting. Not yet, you whisper. Let's stay a little longer. The lantern's glow deepens, turning the air gold and warm. The hum fades into silence, the river into stillness, and once again, the Kingdom of Yawns holds you completely, gently, endlessly. When you rise from the meadow, the air feels thicker with dreams, like honey stirred into twilight. The glow of the lantern of listening fades softly behind you, its hum blending into the pulse of the night. Ahead, a narrow path winds uphill between clusters of glowing flowers, pale lilac blooms that release a faint mist, smelling of clean sheets and freshly baked bread. Tulliver lumbers beside you at an easy pace, the mouse riding on his shell like a tiny captain at sea. The stars above you drift lazily, rearranging themselves into shapes that seem familiar for a moment, then dissolve again. A teacup, a feather, a hammock, swinging in space. The hill leads to the inn, Tulliver says, his voice rolling like a faraway drumbeat muffled in cotton. a good place for travelers to pause between dreams. The inn? You ask, smiling softly. Does anyone work at an inn where everyone's asleep? Oh, plenty, says the mouse, its whiskers quivering. It takes skill to manage so much quiet. The path widens as you reach the top of the hill, revealing a building that looks as though it grew out of the earth itself. It's not quite a house, not quite a castle, something in between. The walls are built from pale stone and flowering vines that shimmer in the starlight. The roof curves like the wings of a sleeping bird, and dozens of paper lanterns hang from its eaves, glowing in shades of amber, rose, and cream. Above the door, carved into smooth wood, is a sign that reads, "The Inn of Perpetual Restrooms, always ready, guests never in a hurry." You can't help but smile. As you step closer, the door opens with a soft sigh. The scent that drifts out is heavenly lavender, warm milk, cinnamon, and a hint of rain on old wood. Inside, everything glows gently. The walls are lined with shelves of books and teapots. Each teapot emits a tiny puff of steam that shapes itself into floating clouds, then disappears into the rafters. Cushions, blankets, and rugs are scattered everywhere, all mismatched but perfectly coordinated in their softness. A large clock stands in the corner, but its hands move so slowly you're not sure if they're moving at all. A figure appears from behind the counter, a tall, kind-eyed woman with hair like silver smoke tied up in a bun. She wears a robe embroidered with moons and tiny stars. When she speaks, her voice sounds like a lullaby wrapped in a smile. "Welcome, traveler," she says. "My name is Somna. I run the inn. You look like you've carried a long quiet with you. That's the right kind." Her words melt the last bit of effort from your posture. "It's beautiful here," you say softly. She nods, folding her hands. "It tries to be. Everyone needs a place where time remembers to slow down." Somna gestures to a low counter made of polished wood. On it rests a guest book, open to a page filled with flowing handwriting. But when you lean closer, you realize the words are moving letters, stretching and curling like vines. "They write themselves," she explains. "Everyone's dreams check in before their bodies do. You're already here, you see." The mouse claps its tiny paws. "We're regulars," Somna chuckles. "Oh, I know. You always nap in the teacup suite." Tulliver yawns, a deep, rippling sound that makes a few lanterns sway. "I'll settle by the fireplace," he murmurs. "The flames tell excellent bedtime stories." You glance across the room. The fireplace glows with soft blue fire, and sure enough, the smoke rising from it forms faint, drifting shapes, castles, mountains, and sleepy dragons curled among clouds. Somna places a small key on the counter. It glimmers faintly, shaped like a crescent moon. "Room 7, she says. "It faces the valley. The view is quiet tonight." You take the key, feeling its weight pleasantly warm, like it's been waiting for you. "Would you like some dream milk before you rest?" she asks. It helps smooth the edges between thoughts. You nod. "Please." Somna pours a glass from a porcelain pitcher painted with soft stars. The liquid glows faintly pink, swirling as though alive. When you sip, it tastes like warm vanilla, honey, and the faintest touch of nostalgia, like remembering a day that never existed, but wishing it had. The warmth travels through you slowly, loosening every knot of thought and worry, until you feel like you're made of mist. "Take the left corridor," she says. "Follow the music of the wind chimes. Your room will open when it recognizes your quiet. You thank her and turn toward the hallway. The wooden floor hums faintly underfoot, not creaking, but breathing. Lanterns hang from the ceiling at irregular intervals, glowing in rhythm with your steps. The air is perfumed with rosemary and soft linen. The further you walk, the more the walls seem to melt into light. You hear gentle sounds, wind chimes, a kettle's sigh, maybe even a faint snore from behind one of the doors. It feels like walking through a dream that has chosen to stay awake just for you. Room 7 waits at the end of the hall. The door is slightly ajar, and when you push it open, the hinges sigh happily. Inside, the room is perfection in stillness. A large, circular window overlooks the valley you came from, the river of drowsy echoes, glinting faintly below, the orchard swaying in the distance. A bed sits beneath the window, its canopy woven from drifting threads of mist. The pillows are piled high, and the blanket looks like it's made of cloud and moonlight blended together. You sit down, and the mattress adjusts instantly, sighing like it's relieved to meet you. The mouse clambers onto the nightstand, curls into the hollow of a teacup, and immediately begins to snore. Tulliver's hum carries faintly from downstairs, mixing with the crackle of the blue fire. You lean back. The canopy moves ever so slightly, breathing like the world outside. Through the window, the stars shimmer lazily, their reflections swimming in the river below. Somewhere in the distance, a bell chimes once, low and warm. It doesn't mark the hour, it marks the mood. Everything in the inn seems to respond. The lanterns dim a shade, the air deepens into velvet silence, and a faint lullaby drifts through the rafters. You can't tell if it's real or imagined. It doesn't matter. You close your eyes. The bed cradles you like a familiar hand. The dragon's distant breath threads through the walls, slow, steady, and endlessly kind. The last thing you think before sleep folds you completely is a thought so small and clear that it might not even be words. I am safe here. I belong to this quiet. And the night, in reply, hums softly back. Yes, you do. When you drift awake, it isn't because morning has come. In the Kingdom of Yawns, mornings arrive only when someone remembers to open their eyes, and even then, the stars prefer to linger a while. You lie still for a moment, letting the softness of your surroundings greet you. The air in your room is gentle and cool, smelling faintly of milk tea and cedar wood. The blankets have adjusted perfectly to your temperature, and when you move, they murmur faintly, a sound somewhere between a sigh and a purr. Through the circular window, the sky glows with a deep twilight blue. The stars hang low, slow-moving and thoughtful, as though they are deciding which dreams to visit next. The river of drowsy echoes far below reflects their patient light, each ripple carrying a tiny fragment of silver into the distance. You stretch your arms and take a deep breath. Every inhale feels like a quiet gift, every exhale like a tiny release back into peace. A soft tapping reaches your ears, not insistent, but curious, like rain politely asking to be let in. When you look toward the sound, you see a small balcony door, its sheer curtains fluttering as though something gentle waits outside. You rise, feet sinking into the plush rug soft as sleeping moss, and make your way to the door. The moment you open it, the night greets you like an old friend. The air is cool and perfumed with moonflower petals. The balcony is small, round, and framed by ivy that glows faintly from within, each leaf pulsing with its own sleepy rhythm. And there, perched on the railing, is a little bird made entirely of starlight. Its feathers shimmer softly, trailing tiny sparks that vanish before they hit the ground. The bird blinks at you slowly, contentedly, and when it sings, the sound is not music, but the hush of distant wind traveling across an open meadow. You smile. Hello there. The bird tilts its head as though it understands and hops once toward you. From beneath its wing, it produces a thin envelope that glows faintly gold. You take it carefully, feeling its warmth. The front is addressed simply to the traveler of the quiet. You open it, and inside is a single sheet of parchment that smells faintly of chamomile and clouds. The words are handwritten, the ink shimmering between blue and silver. Dear dreamer, the stars are slower tonight. They would like some company. Follow them when you're ready. They will show you something gentle. No signature, just a faint smudge of moonlight where someone's hand might have rested. The bird chirps once, a sound like a sigh folded into laughter, then takes flight, scattering tiny lights across the balcony. As it disappears into the night, you notice a faint path forming overhead, a delicate trail of glowing stars stretching from the horizon to somewhere far beyond the inn's roof. You lean on the railing, watching as the path pulses faintly, like it's breathing in sync with you. The mouse appears on your shoulder, its nightcap slightly crooked. Stars are having visitors tonight? It asks, rubbing its eyes. Seems so, you whisper. Well, the mouse says with a sleepy grin, they've got good taste. Tulliver's low voice rises from the courtyard below. He's resting near the fountain, his shell catching the light. If you're going walking, he rumbles, mind your step. The sky can be slippery when it's made of peace. You laugh softly. I'll be careful. The air above the balcony begins to shimmer. Slowly, a stairway of starlight takes shape, each step translucent, gleaming faintly like glass dipped in morning dew. When you place your foot upon the first one, it holds you easily, soft but steady, like the moment just before a dream begins. The mouse scurries onto your shoulder. Let's see what the stars are whispering about, it says. You climb. The inn falls away below, its lanterns now tiny embers glowing in the vast sea of night. The world stretches out valleys, wrapped in mist, hills breathing softly in sleep, the river winding through them all like a strand of silver silk. As you ascend, the stars drift closer, their light not bright, but warm, almost touchable. You pass constellations that don't exist anywhere else. The sleepy cat, curled into an endless loop, the teacup of dreams, always half full, the great yawn, whose open mouth seems to hum across the cosmos. Each star you pass hums faintly, a note in an invisible melody. Together they form a harmony that makes your chest ache, not with sadness, but with a deep, tender calm. When you reach the top of the stairway, you find yourself standing on a vast platform of soft light, a floating meadow woven entirely of starlight grass. The ground glows under your feet, and when you step, small motes of golden dust rise and swirl like sleepy fireflies. In the center stands a low table carved from moonstone, with 3 cups already waiting. A pot of steaming liquid sits beside them, and its aroma reaches you, a blend of vanilla, mint, and something ancient and quiet, like the scent of old pages in a book that remembers every dream ever written. A figure sits by the table, cloaked in shadows. When it lifts its head, you see that its eyes are made of stars, and its smile, soft and patient, belongs to someone who has seen eternity and found it soothing. "Welcome," the figure says. Its voice sounds like 1,000 lullabies, speaking at once, but none of them are loud. "Please sit." The sky is slower when shared. You and the mouse settle beside the table. The cloaked figure pours the tea. The steam curls upward, forming faint constellations before fading. "This," it says, handing you a cup, "is starlight steeped in stillness. It's brewed once every 1,000 nights. When even time decides to nap, you sip carefully. The taste is indescribable, like holding light on your tongue. It fills you with warmth that spreads through every limb, a slow river of comfort winding through your body. You exhale, and the air that leaves you glows faintly for a moment before fading. The stars around the meadow begin to pulse in rhythm, each one inhaling and exhaling light in harmony with your breath. The figure watches you, serene. "They've been waiting to rest," it says. "You brought calm with you." You look up. All across the sky, the stars are dimming, not disappearing, but relaxing, as though settling deeper into their cosmic beds. The figure places its hand over its heart. When the stars slow, the dragon sleeps more deeply. When the dragon rests, the kingdom hums in peace. And when travelers like you wander here, you remind the night to keep dreaming. You smile, your eyelids heavy again. Then, "I'm glad I came." "Stay as long as you like," the figure says. "The stars will remember your quiet." You look out across the endless, glowing horizon. The river below a silver thread. The inn, a tiny candle. The dragon's great shadow, curled like a mountain of comfort. The sky hums softly, and the stars begin to drift once more, as if tucking themselves in for another 1,000 years. You finish your tea and lean back, the starlight meadow rising just enough to cradle you. Your body grows light, your breathing slow. The mouse sighs contentedly beside you, and before sleep claims you again, you hear the stars whisper one last thing, so softly that it might just be the echo of your own heartbeat. Even the stars rest when the dreamer remembers to. When you next stir, the air itself seems to be dreaming. A soft wind brushes your face, warm as a sigh, cool as a cloud passing through your thoughts. You open your eyes to find the starlight meadow fading around you, its glow retreating into mist, its edges dissolving into a slow swirl of silver air. The stars above blink farewell, one by one, until they melt into the shape of a gentle dawn. But here in the Kingdom of Yawns, dawn does not mean brightness, it means softness. The light folds over the world like an extra blanket, and even time seems to roll over for just a few more minutes of rest. You find yourself descending the starlit path again, back toward the earth. Each step feels like walking through memory, weightless, silent, kind. The mouse is curled up on your shoulder, snoring faintly, and Taliva waits for you at the bottom, where the grass glows with dew like sleeping fireflies. "Ah," he says, his voice as low and steady as always. "The stars are quieter tonight. They must have enjoyed your company." You smile. "They were very polite." Taliva chuckles, the sound like distant thunder, muffled under quilts. "Then it's time to show you the library." "The library?" you ask, curious. "Of books?" "Not quite," he says, turning toward a small, winding road that leads between two hills. The library of sleeping winds. It holds all the sighs that ever drifted too far to find their way home. The road curves gently downward, lined with wildflowers that hum faintly when brushed by the breeze. Soon you hear it, a distant, peaceful rustling, like pages being turned in a book made of air. The sound grows stronger until the path opens into a vast clearing, and you see it, a structure carved directly into the hillside, its walls shimmering with rippling patterns, as though the wind itself has written poems across the stone. Vines spiral along its edges, each leaf turning slowly in invisible currents, and above the arched doorway, a phrase glows faintly in the soft light. Here rest the winds that learned to whisper. You step closer. The door is open. Of course it always is. No one in the Kingdom of Yawns ever has to knock. Inside, the air is alive but not in motion. It's filled with layers of movement, so slow they look frozen, as if someone had captured breezes mid-dance and let them hover forever. Threads of wind spiral gently through the vast chamber, each glowing a faint pastel hue: rose, ivory, pale blue, and silver gray. And instead of shelves, the library holds towering glass spirals filled with light. Each spiral hums softly, vibrating with the faint echoes of words that were once whispered into the world. Tulliver lowers his shell gently to the floor, letting the mouse hop down. This is where the gentlest sounds come to rest, he explains. Every yawn, every breath, every kind whisper that's ever floated away. The mouse looks around in awe. It's like the whole sky learned how to nap indoors. You walk between the spirals, your hand brushing the air. Each touch releases a faint murmur, a laugh from somewhere far away, a lullaby, sung in a language you don't know, the hush of ocean waves settling against the shore. The air smells faintly of linen and rain, with a hint of old paper, not the musty kind, but the comforting scent of a book that's been well loved. At the heart of the library stands a massive wind globe, a sphere of swirling gold that spins so slowly it seems still. When you step closer, the hum deepens until you can feel it in your chest. This, says Tulliver softly, is the first breath, the one the dragon took before he began to dream. You look up at the golden sphere. Inside its light, you can almost see the faint outline of wings unfolding, not physical, not visible, but felt, like a memory inside the bones of the air. It still moves, Tulliver murmurs. That's why every breeze in the kingdom knows how to rest. A librarian appears from behind one of the spirals, a tall, thin figure in a robe that seems woven from mist itself. Their eyes are clear as morning fog, and when they speak, the words arrive softly, as though carried on a gentle gust. "Welcome, traveler," they say, bowing slightly. "Would you like to borrow a wind?" "Ah, wind?" you ask, intrigued. The librarian nods. Each one tells a story. When you listen closely enough, they like to travel, you know, to remind others how to breathe. They gesture toward the spirals. "Pick one that hums to your heartbeat." You close your eyes and listen. The sounds around you mingle, some soft, some high, some slow, all perfectly at peace with each other. And then you hear it, a quiet sigh that feels familiar. It hums in the same rhythm as your breath, like the sound of air leaving your lungs after a good dream. You follow it to a small spiral near the corner. Inside, a single strand of breeze swirls lazily, glowing a faint shade of peach. It quivers when you approach, as if it's happy to see you. The librarian smiles. That one likes you. They lift a delicate glass vial from a nearby shelf and uncork it. The strand of wind slips inside, with a faint giggle of sound like laughter underwater. The librarian hands you the vial. Here, it will travel with you until it finds where it belongs. You hold it up to the light. The strand dances gently, forming small shapes in the glass. Waves, leaves, tiny clouds, maybe even a yawn or two. The librarian inclines their head. When you grow restless, release it. It will remind you how to rest again. Tulliver nods in agreement. Winds have good memories. You tuck the vial into your pocket. It feels light, almost weightless, but the warmth against your hand feels alive, like holding a tiny piece of comfort. Thank you, you say softly. The librarian smiles faintly. We thank you, traveler. Every calm breath adds another whisper to our shelves. The mouse waves a tiny paw. Goodbye, library. As you step outside, a faint current of air curls around you, as though the whole place is exhaling in farewell. The wind carries the scent of lavender and cool stone. Behind you, the glowing letters above the entrance fade gently, but a new phrase appears for just a moment, barely visible before it drifts away. Every breath you rest is another story the world remembers. Tulliver takes a deep breath, the kind that feels like a small yawn wrapped in gratitude. Next, he says quietly, you should see where the winds sleep when they're tired of traveling. You glance back at the library, still glowing softly in the hillside. A small breeze lifts the edge of your sleeve, and for an instant, you could swear it sighs in your voice. The road ahead glows faintly, turning toward a valley of shimmering mist. The dragon's slow, rhythmic breathing can be felt again through the air, steady, eternal, and endlessly kind. You smile, following it. Each step feels lighter, easier. The vial hums softly in your hand, and the world seems to breathe with you. In, out, in, out. The rhythm of all peaceful things. You walk on through a silver haze that glows faintly in the soft light of endless dusk. Each breath feels deeper, smoother, as if the air has learned your rhythm and moves with you. The road winds downward into a broad valley blanketed by mist, a place where sound itself seems to rest before traveling any farther. Tulliver leads the way at his unhurried pace, his shell catching the dim shimmer of the horizon. The mouse hums quietly on your shoulder, a simple tune that might once have been a lullaby. The path here is made of soft earth that gives just enough underfoot, and your steps make no sound at all. As you descend, you begin to notice small stones scattered along the trail. They're translucent and faintly glowing, like drops of frozen moonlight. When you look closely, you can see faint ripples inside them, as though the stones are filled with sleeping songs. What are these? You ask, crouching to pick one up. Tulliver looks back over his shoulder, his eyes reflecting the faint light. They're echoes, he says, ones that were too gentle to fade completely. Echoes? The mouse repeats. Fascinated, Tulliver nods. Yes, when someone whispers something soft enough, something kind, the valley keeps it. It lets it rest a while before sending it back into the world. You turn the stone over in your palm. It's warm, pulsing slightly with your heartbeat. If you listen closely, you can almost hear something. A single word, long ago spoken, now echoing forever in a voice softer than memory. You think it might be, "Thank you." The path widens into a meadow of mist and light. At its center stands a gentle rise of earth, and from it flows a series of streams that drift lazily in every direction, not rushing, not seeking, simply being. The air here hums faintly, 1,000 invisible echoes mingling together. It isn't noise, it's music made entirely of rest. You notice a shape beside one of the streams, a tall figure cloaked in gauzy fabric, its form half translucent, as though it's made of voice and air rather than flesh and bone. It kneels by the water, cupping it in both hands, then releases it again, as if returning something precious. When it speaks, its voice is soft enough to ripple the mist. "Welcome, traveler," it says. "You've come to the resting place of words." You bow your head slightly. "What are you doing?" The figure smiles gently. "We tend to the echoes that the world forgets. Every sigh of relief, every soft laugh, every whispered good night. They drift here when they're done, and we cool them in the streams." The mouse tilts its head. "You wash words?" The figure chuckles, a sound like a breeze through hollow reeds. "In a way. Words can grow tired from being used too loudly, so we let them rest until they remember their gentleness again." It gestures toward the streams. You kneel beside one, letting your fingers touch the water. It's warmer than you expect, thick with a soothing pulse, as if the stream carries the heartbeat of the entire valley. When you look down, the water doesn't reflect your face. Instead, it shows faint images flickering across its surface, people leaning close to whisper comfort, friends laughing softly, someone brushing a tear from another's cheek. The scenes fade as quickly as they appear, leaving ripples that sparkle once and then vanish. Tulliver lowers his head, dipping the tip of his snout into the current. He exhales deeply, and for a moment the water hums with low, contented warmth. "It remembers kindness," he says simply. The mouse crouches beside you, cupping its paws. "Can I try?" it asks. The figure nods. "All may rest here, even voices." The mouse lowers its tiny paws into the stream and whispers something so soft you can't quite hear the words. The water glows faintly in response, then releases a tiny ripple that shimmers its way down the valley. The figure smiles. "A new echo," it says. "A small one, but very sweet." You linger by the water for a while, watching the way the streams twist and cross each other like threads of silver thread. Each one hums a different tone, and together they form a harmony that feels both ancient and newly born. Overhead, clouds drift low, slow, thoughtful shapes that seem to be listening. One drifts close enough to touch, and when you reach up, it feels cool and velvety against your fingertips. It hums faintly, as though purring. "Even the clouds like it here," says Tulliver with a chuckle. "They've been napping for centuries." The figure gathers a handful of mist, molding it into a shape that looks like a small, sleeping bird. It hands it to you, the form light as breath. "This is a gentle echo," it says. "Carry it with you. If ever you forget the sound of calm, it will remind you." You cradle the soft bird of mist in your palms. It hums faintly, syncing perfectly with the vial of sleeping wind in your pocket. The two sounds weave together, forming a quiet duet. As you stand, the valley shifts around you. The mist curls into soft patterns that resemble open doors, and one path glows brighter than the rest, a faint golden hue that seems to pulse in time with the dragon's distant breathing. The mouse looks at it and whispers, "That must lead to him, doesn't it?" Tulliver nods. Yes, the closer we walk to his dreaming, the slower the world becomes. Even the air forgets to hurry. You turn toward the glowing path. Behind you, the figure of the valley lifts a hand in farewell, and every whisper in the air rises with it. Hundreds of faint voices, sighing in unison, like the exhale of a sleeping forest. Thank you, you say, and though you don't speak loudly, your words shimmer in the mist before floating away to join the echoes. The path ahead glows steadily, lined by tiny blossoms that open and close with your heartbeat. The scent of lavender, chamomile, and something older, a sweetness that can only be described as belonging, fills the air around you. You take one last look at the valley of gentle echoes. It feels like you're leaving behind a secret you didn't know you needed, and yet somehow you know it will follow wherever you go. Tulliver looks at you over his shoulder, eyes gleaming. The dragon's dreaming deeply tonight, he says. When we reach him, the world will be quieter than even silence. You nod, and together, the three of you begin the slow ascent toward the mountain of sleep, where breath and dream become one. The air grows thicker with warmth and gold. The wind from the library hums softly in your pocket, and the mist bird sings in your palm a lullaby made of everything peaceful. And somewhere in the distance, the great dragon sighs, a sound so gentle that even the stars pause to listen. The path grows steeper now, curling upward through a sea of gold and lavender mist. The air feels thicker here, not heavy, just slower, as though every molecule has remembered how to dream. Each breath you take hums faintly, resonating with the same calm rhythm that has followed you all this way. Tulliver moves ahead with deliberate grace, his every step sending ripples of soft light across the path. The mouse perches atop your shoulder again, blinking drowsily, its tail trailing behind like a ribbon in syrup. The glow from your pocket. The sleeping wind has become steady now, and the mistbird hums faintly in your hands, its tone harmonizing with the faint vibration in the air. You realize what you're hearing isn't music at all, it's the heartbeat of the mountain, and beneath it, deeper, older, more patient than anything else in the world, you can hear the sound of the dragon breathing. Each inhale is a long, distant swell, as if the earth itself were sighing in contentment. Each exhale rolls across the sky like velvet thunder. You reach a ledge where the mist clears, revealing a stairway unlike any you've ever seen. The steps glow with a pale blue light, shifting with each breath you take. They aren't carved from stone or crystal, but from light itself. Slow, molten beams that seem to have chosen the shape of stairs only for convenience. The stairway of drowsing light, says Tulliver, his voice reverent. It leads to the dreaming hollow, where the dragon's breath shapes the world. You step closer. The air around the stairs vibrates faintly, like a deep purr. When your foot touches the first step, the light beneath it ripples outward in a soft wave. It feels warm, not like heat, but like the exact temperature of your favorite blanket. The mouse yawns so wide it nearly falls off your shoulder. Are we walking up into a dream again? Tulliver smiles with his slow, wise eyes. We never left one. The climb begins. Each step is deliberate, unhurried. The light beneath your feet adjusts to your pace, glowing brighter with every breath in, dimming with every breath out. Soon, you realize the stairway is keeping time with your breathing, and, faintly, with the dragons too. You look back once. Far below, the Kingdom of Yawns stretches out, in serene stillness, a patchwork of glowing valleys and whispering groves, the river winding like a silver thread through folds of dream and air. Even the stars seem to linger low, waiting. You turn forward again and keep climbing. The air around you smells faintly of sleep and rain. 1,000 faint whispers curl through the mist, some familiar, some not. They aren't words exactly, just small, remembered feelings. The weight of a cat on your lap, the hum of rain on a window pane, the warmth of tea cooling slowly between your hands. As you climb higher, you begin to see shapes in the fog. They drift and shimmer like the reflection of clouds in water, dreams passing by on their way to becoming stars. One looks like a school of lanterns swimming through the air, another like a field of pillows that stretches beyond sight. The mouse gasps softly. "We're walking through dreams now," Tulliver nods, his shell glinting with reflected starlight. "The dragon breathes them out," he says. "They float through the kingdom until they find a place to settle. Every good dream begins as a breath of his." You touch the mist beside you. It feels like touching sunlight, filtered through silk, warm, trembling, impossibly soft. A faint melody rises from it when your fingers brush through, and for a moment you're certain the air itself just sighed in gratitude. The stairway eventually widens into a small landing where a circular pool of light rests like a mirror waiting to be noticed. Its surface ripples without sound, reflecting not your image but your feeling. You look down and see not your face, but something quieter, a shimmer of warmth, the shape of your calm. "This pool marks the edge of waking and dreaming," says Tulliver softly. "No one crosses it without leaving a little of their noise behind." The mouse leans over, peering into the light. Its reflection yawns, then curls up and falls instantly asleep. The real mouse giggles. "That one's faster than me." You kneel beside the pool. The light hums faintly, asking for nothing, offering everything. You touch it, and it feels like liquid peace. It flows around your hand and into your pulse, washing away any stray thought that tried to stay awake. When you lift your hand, droplets of light cling to your fingers. They float upward, becoming fireflies that circle lazily before fading. "You've left your waking voice behind," says Tulliver. "You'll need only your dreaming one now." Your dreaming voice? You test it by whispering a single word, "Hello." The sound doesn't leave your mouth. It unfolds into light, drifting upward like a small, luminous petal. The air hums in reply, echoing the word back, not as sound but as warmth in your chest. You smile. "It's beautiful." The turtle nods, his eyes soft. Every kindness becomes visible here. The climb continues. Above, the light grows golden now, not bright, but deep and endless, the way the world might look inside a candle flame. You feel the warmth wrapping around you, and you know without asking that the dreaming hollow is near. The mist bird in your hand flutters once, its glow syncing perfectly with the rhythm of the air. The vial of sleeping wind in your pocket hums like a contented heartbeat. Every piece of your journey so far seems to sing together now, blending into one long note of serenity. Even the mountain itself exhales, a slow gust that smells faintly of cinnamon and night air. "Almost there," whispers Tulliver. "Beyond the next light, we'll find the hollow." The mouse tightens its nightcap. "And the dragon?" Tulliver nods. "Dreaming, always dreaming. But tonight, he might just stir enough to notice you." You take another step, then another, each one lighter than the last, until finally The light ahead grows so soft, so golden, that you feel it open around you like a curtain being drawn aside, and beyond it, a vast chamber of warm air and glowing mist, the breath of something enormous, ancient, and kind, the place where all dreams begin. You've reached the dreaming hollow. The light folds open like a sigh, and you step gently into the heart of the mountain. It is not dark here, nor bright. The air glows softly, like a candle inside your chest, and every breath you take seems to hum back to you, a warm vibration that starts in your ribs and fades into the air. The dreaming hollow is vast, yet everything in it feels intimate, familiar. It's shaped not by walls or rock, but by light itself, a cavern woven from gold and blue, every surface rippling faintly, as though breathing in unison with the world. You can feel the dragon's presence before you see him. The air itself carries his warmth, a deep, steady heartbeat in the ground. The mist that drifts through the hollow glows faintly each time he exhales, filling the space with the scent of honeyed air, cedar, and sleep. Tulliver bows his great head, the lantern glow from his shell dimming to a gentle shimmer. This is his dream's center, he whispers, the place where the hush begins. You step forward slowly, and the ground beneath your feet feels like velvet cloud, soft, forgiving, as if made from the stuff of forgotten lullabies. Your footsteps don't echo, they melt instantly into calm. As you move deeper into the hollow, the golden mist parts, and there he is, the sleepiest dragon in the Kingdom of Yawns. He lies coiled in an enormous ring, his tail wrapped around a pool of light that pulses softly with every breath. His scales shimmer like polished moonstone blue, gold, and ivory at once, and each one seems to hum quietly, a note in the great chord of rest that fills this place. His wings are half folded, their edges glowing like the inside of a seashell. Every time he exhales, a wave of warm air sweeps gently through the hollow, carrying a whisper that sounds almost like words. Dream deeply, dream kindly. The mouse presses its paws to its mouth, whispering in awe. He's even bigger than his snores sounded. Tulliver chuckles softly and gentler than all of them combined. You stand still for a while, watching the dragon breathe, feeling the rhythm of his dreaming move through your body. When you close your eyes, you can see what he dreams: soft meadows, rolling under endless twilight, a sky filled with drifting lanterns, rivers that hum lullabies to sleeping stars. You see creatures from every part of the kingdom: the fox with the spectacles, the owl in the orchard, the innkeeper Somna, all resting peacefully beneath his slow, watchful dreaming. Everything in this world lives within his calm. He doesn't rule it, he simply rests, and in doing so, teaches the world to rest, too. Tulliver steps closer to the great dragon's paw, placing one clawed hand gently against the smooth surface of a scale. The sound it makes is like wind through harp strings. "Old friend," he murmurs, "you've got visitors tonight." The dragon stirs slightly, not much, just the slow shift of a muscle beneath his shimmering hide, and a deeper rumble in his breathing. The pool of light at his center ripples once, and suddenly the whole hollow changes. You feel it before you see it. The dragon's dream adjusting, making space for you. The mist around you thickens and glows. The golden light wraps around your arms and shoulders like a blanket. And in that moment, you hear him, not with your ears, but with your rest. "Traveler, says a voice inside your thoughts, slow, deep, and tender as the bottom of the ocean. You have carried peace well. The winds remember you. The stars have rested in your company. You try to answer, but words don't seem necessary. The warmth of your chest speaks for you. You've walked the quiet roads. The dragon continues, and you've listened when the world forgot how. You've breathed kindly. That is enough. The mistbird in your hands glows brightly for a moment, then dissolves into light that flows upward, a tiny offering to the dragon's dream. From your pocket, the vial of sleeping wind hums once, then opens itself, releasing a swirl of golden air that dances through the hollow before merging into the dragon's breath. For a brief second, everything in the world seems to stop. Then, the hollow exhales, and your heart feels as though it has been washed clean by starlight. The mouse looks around, its voice trembling with sleepy awe. I think he's dreaming of us now. Tulliver nods slowly. He is. That's how he says thank you. The light around you begins to drift downward, pooling gently into the soft ground like melting gold. The dragon's tail shifts again, curling slightly tighter, and his great eyes flicker open just enough to reveal a pair of irises that look like galaxies swirling in honey. For a heartbeat, you meet his gaze. It feels like being seen by the night itself, not examined, not judged, but understood. Then slowly, the dragon's eyes close again, and he sighs, a sigh so deep and gentle that the air around you trembles in pleasure. The entire hollow hums with it. You breathe in, you breathe out, and for the first time in longer than you can remember, you realize there's not a single corner of you left that isn't calm. Tulliver lowers his great head beside you. You may rest here, he says quietly. Few ever get this close to the dream itself. It's where time takes a nap. The mouse curls up in your palm, already halfway asleep. The dragon breathes, and the ground beneath you moves like the ocean's slowest wave. You lie down, letting the rhythm carry you. Up, down, up, down. The lullaby of something enormous and eternal. Above you, the mist glows faintly gold. Tiny motes of light drift down like snow made of sighs. They touch your hair, your cheeks, your chest, and each one seems to whisper a word as it fades. Still, warm, peace. You close your eyes. The hollow breathes. The dragon dreams, and the night, ever patient, folds around you like a story finishing its sentence. When you open your eyes again, you are still lying in the dreaming hollow, but the air feels different now, thicker, almost liquid with light. It moves slowly, like honey poured into a still bowl. You take a breath, and the air enters you like calm itself, warm, shimmering, filling every quiet space inside you. The dragon still slumbers nearby, his vast form rising and falling like the tide of an endless sea. Every exhale sends a gentle breeze across the hollow, and each one carries something new. A shimmer of laughter, the faint scent of rain-soaked wood, a lullaby sung by no one and everyone at once. Tulliver is resting by the dragon's tail, his shell gleaming faintly in the low light. The mouse snores softly on your chest, its tiny body rising and falling in rhythm with the dragon's breath. You lie there for a while, just listening. Nothing in the world feels separate here. The dragon breathes, the hollow hums, and you, too, are part of the music of stillness. Eventually, a faint light begins to pulse above you. It isn't harsh or commanding, just a gentle tug of curiosity. like a dream inviting you to look up. You do, and see a dome of faint stars shifting overhead. They move slowly, rearranging themselves into soft patterns that seem familiar. A teacup, a lantern, a dragon, curled into a spiral. As you watch, the stars fold inward, gathering at a single point above the dragon's heart. The air vibrates, the ground hums softly beneath you, and then, from that glowing heart, a new path appears, a narrow bridge of light, stretching from the dragon's chest to a raised platform at the far side of the hollow. Tulliver stirs and looks up, blinking his kind eyes. "Ah," he says softly. He's inviting you to the chamber of shared dreams. "The what?" The mouse mumbles sleepily, one eye opening. "The place," says Tulliver, "where the dragon lets others dream with him." You rise slowly, still wrapped in that velvet-like air. The bridge looks fragile, but when you step onto it, the light bends gently beneath your feet, strong as faith, soft as breath. The mouse perches on your shoulder again, and Tulliver watches you with a proud, sleepy smile. "Don't worry," he murmurs. "It knows where you need to go." The bridge leads you upward, past slow drifting clouds of mist that sparkle like starlight caught in syrup. When you glance down, you can see the dragon's body beneath you, a vast landscape of calm scales, glowing faintly like distant cities seen from above. It's beautiful, but not in the way of grand or glittering things. It's beautiful because it feels like home. At the end of the bridge, you reach a small round platform made of pure light. It hovers gently above the dragon's heart, its surface rippling like the skin of a pond touched by wind. In its center stands a tall crystal clear as water, and inside it, tiny threads of light swirl slowly, each one a color you can't quite name. When you step closer, the threads begin to form shapes, a hammock swaying between glowing trees, an inn filled with sleeping teapots, a river humming with echoes, a starlight meadow where time took a nap. All the places you've been, all the calm you've carried. You realize, with a soft ache, that every gentle breath you've taken here has become part of the dragon's dream. The crystal hums quietly, a note so low and perfect that you feel it more than hear it. The sound seems to say, "You remember peace now, you can share it." The mouse peers into the crystal, its whiskers glowing faintly in the light. "So this is all the dreams we met along the way?" You nod. "I think so. Every kindness, every breath, every bit of rest." The mouse presses a paw against the crystal. It responds, instantly rippling outward, revealing faint silhouettes within. The sleepy fox, Somna at her inn, the librarian of winds, and even the starlight figure who served tea to the stars. They all appear in miniature, glowing gently, each one curled into their own peaceful sleep. It's as though the whole kingdom dreams here together, threads of calm woven into one tapestry of rest. The mouse blinks up at you. "We're part of it now, aren't we?" You smile softly. "Yes, we are." A faint tremor passes through the air, not frightening, not loud. It feels like the dragon sighing in contentment. The mist around you glows brighter, and from the base of the crystal, a new light flows outward, curling around your feet, then swirling up your arms in slow, drowsy spirals. The warmth that fills you is indescribable, like being hugged by the air itself, like every lullaby you've ever heard finding its final note. Your vision softens, the lines between you and the hollow blur. For a moment, you are the mist, you are the hum, you are the breath moving in and out of the dragon's dreaming chest. You see through his slumber the kingdom of yawns stretching endlessly below, every hill, every star, every whisper connected by this one pulse of calm. You see yourself walking its paths again, through orchards of silver fruit, across bridges of mist, past hammocks swaying in windless air. But this time, everything is lit from within, each scene glowing with quiet gratitude. When you open your eyes again, you're still standing on the glowing platform, the mouse nestled against your neck, sleeping peacefully. The crystal has gone still, its colors slowly dimming to a soft, warm amber. Tulliver's voice reaches you from below, low, kind, unhurried. The chamber closes when it's full. You've given it something gentle. Traveler, you look down. He's right. The hollow itself feels fuller somehow, richer, rounder, like a deep breath held and released in perfect rhythm. You touch the crystal one last time. Its surface feels warm, alive, and faintly pulsing. A single ripple of light spreads outward across the hollow, touching the dragon's wings, the ground beneath you, the ceiling of light above. The hum deepens once, then softens into silence, the kind of silence that doesn't need to be filled, because it is the sound of everything being exactly as it should be. You take a step back. The bridge of light reforms behind you, and when you turn to go, the crystal glows faintly in farewell, a last, sleepy blink before drifting back into the dragon's heartbeat. As you cross the bridge again, you feel lighter than you've ever been, as if the world itself has exhaled through you. The mouse mumbles something in its sleep about tea and clouds. Tulliver watches from below, his eyes bright with pride. You did well, he says simply, when you reach him. Then, in the softest tone of all, now the hollow knows your name. You smile faintly, feeling the truth of his words settle deep in your chest. Somewhere above, the dragon shifts again, and his sigh rolls through the chamber, long and low, a sound that feels like an entire night, deciding to rest just a little longer. The bridge of light fades behind you as your feet touch the ground again. The dreaming hollow hums gently, the air so calm that even the mist seems to breathe slower. It would be easy to lie down right here and let the dragon's warmth carry you away. But Tulliver, slow and smiling, nods toward a narrow archway where golden light drifts through. There's one more place, he says softly, before the dream folds closed. The lantern garden. The name alone feels peaceful in your mouth, like something round and luminous. You follow him toward the archway, the mouse still curled in your hand. The path slopes gently downward, smooth as river glass beneath your step. With each pace, the glow grows warmer, softer, like candlelight through fog. You emerge into an open space beneath the hollow's great heart, a cavern whose ceiling shimmers like a sky made of sleeping stars. Hundreds of lanterns float in the air, some tethered to the ground by silken ribbons, others drifting freely like slow, contented thoughts. Their light isn't harsh, it's golden, buttery, drowsy. Every lantern glows differently. One pulses in rhythm with a heartbeat, another flickers like laughter, another hums faintly, shaped like a teardrop of glass. The lanterns, Tulliver murmurs, hold the last dreams of travelers. When they leave the kingdom, their peace stays behind to light the way for others. You walk among them, moving slowly, so you don't disturb their floating rest. Each one gives off a faint warmth when you pass, as if recognizing something kind in you. It's like walking through a sky that decided to come down and sit a while. One lantern drifts close, small, round, and glowing with a soft blue light. Inside, shapes shimmer faintly. You lean closer and see it holds a tiny scene. A ferry gliding across a lake of silken dreams, a turtle at the oar, a mouse wearing a too large nightcap, and a traveler watching fireflies dance above the water. You smile, realizing it's your lantern. The glass trembles faintly in recognition. The mouse stirs and peers inside. "Oh, look," it squeaks, delighted. "I'm glowing," Tulliver chuckles, his voice deep and pleased. The lanterns keep moments, not memories. A single instant of perfect calm becomes light. You reach out and place your palm beneath the floating globe. It settles gently against your hand, the glass cool and smooth. The light within pulses in time with your breathing. Around you, other lanterns begin to sway slowly, gracefully, as though they've all woken to notice your presence. Some chime faintly, tiny tones that weave together into a melody that isn't quite music, more like the feeling of lullabies remembered from long ago. You can sense the stories they hold: a fox dozing under a tea tree, a dragonfly sleeping on the surface of a lake, a sleepy king resting his crown upon a cushion of mist. Each one a small, quiet gift left behind by those who passed through the kingdom before you. The mouse whispers, "It's like every dream has a candle," and Tulliver nods, and every candle waits patiently for another dreamer. As you walk, you notice a pedestal at the center of the garden. On it sits an unlit lantern, simple, clear, waiting. A gentle current of air curls around it, a silent invitation. Tulliver gestures toward it. "For you," he says, "every traveler leaves a little calm behind. So the next who wanders here will find the way." You step closer. The unlit lantern hums softly under your touch, as if curious to know the shape of your rest. You take a deep breath, in through your nose, out through your mouth, and imagine all the peace you've gathered on this journey. The orchard's lullabies, the hammock's sway, the inn's warmth, the dragon's gentle breath. When you exhale, the light appears, a slow bloom of gold that fills the glass like sunrise spilling into still water. The lantern glows steadily, casting soft ripples across the others, and for a moment, the entire garden brightens, a wave of shared quiet that moves like a heartbeat through air. Tulliver bows his great head. "Well done," he says, voice a velvet murmur. "The dragon will rest easier tonight." The mouse climbs up to your shoulder, eyes gleaming like tiny lanterns of their own. "You made a light," it says proudly. "You're part of the dream, forever now." You laugh softly, your voice dissolving into the hum of the garden. Above you, the ceiling of lanterns begins to move, drifting slowly upward, like a sky deciding to wake. Their light spills upward into the hollow, curling around the dragon's heart before vanishing into his next slow breath. The whole cavern feels like it's sighing content, full, endless. Tulliver turns toward the archway again, his movements slow and deliberate. "It's almost time," he says. "The kingdom's dreams are long, but even they must turn the page." You glance back once at the lantern garden. its glow soft and infinite, and feel something in your chest settle, a stillness that doesn't fade. When you step through the archway, the golden light follows you, wrapping gently around your shoulders like the memory of a blanket. The dragon exhales again, and his breath carries the faint chiming of lanterns. Your light among them, drifting upward into the night that never needs to hurry. The golden light from the lantern garden trails after you like a soft breeze, curling around your shoulders as you step back into the heart of the hollow. It doesn't fade, it simply settles, as though it has decided to stay close. The air here feels even calmer than before, the silence so deep that it hums with life. The dragon's massive form lies as still as a mountain. Each breath he takes moves through the air like waves beneath moonlight. You can feel the warmth of it brushing against your skin, a steady reminder that everything here, light, wind, dream, and heart, beats together in rhythm. Tulliver moves ahead slowly, his shell catching the last glow of the lanterns. He stops near the dragon's folded wing and looks back at you. "There's one last gift before you go," he says. "The hollow never lets a dreamer leave empty-handed." The mouse blinks sleepily on your shoulder. "Do we get tea again?" Tulliver chuckles, low and deep. "Something better." The great dragon stirs once more, and a slow ripple moves through the air, turning the mist gold, then silver, then clear as still water. From that shimmer, a small sphere of light forms in the space before you, no larger than a pearl, yet pulsing gently like a miniature heartbeat made of moonlight. It drifts toward you until it hovers above your open palm. When you touch it, warmth spreads through your hand, then through your arm, then your chest. The same warmth you felt when you first entered the kingdom, but now it's stronger. It feels like every calm breath you've taken, every soft word you've spoken, every moment you remembered that peace was always close by. The dragon's voice rises again, not loud, not spoken, but felt inside your bones. "Traveler of the quiet," it says, "you have carried calm through my dream. You've walked softly, listened deeply, and left light wherever you passed. Take this echo of my rest. When the waking world grows loud, let it remind you that silence still knows your name." You bow your head, feeling something inside you loosen, not sadness, but a deep, grateful ache. The light in your hand sinks gently into your chest, leaving behind a faint warmth that will never quite fade. For a moment, you can feel the hollow breathing through you, the hum of lanterns, the sighs of sleeping trees, the murmur of rivers remembering their songs. It's all still there, just quieter now, tucked safely into your heartbeat. The mouse curls closer to your neck, murmuring, "So this is what home feels like, huh?" You smile. "Yes, it is." Tulliver nods once, slowly, and you'll find it again whenever you breathe gently enough. The air begins to move, not a wind, exactly, but a current of soft intention. It swirls around you, lifting specks of gold that glow brighter with every turn. The hollow seems to be folding inward, the light drawing into itself like the last ember of a fire deciding to rest. You realize the dream is closing, not ending, just returning to stillness, the way all things do after a perfect night. The dragon exhales once more, a breath so long and peaceful, it carries you with it. You feel your body growing lighter, your thoughts melting into warmth and quiet. The edges of the hollow blur, the mist stretches and softens until it becomes something familiar. the feeling of a soft pillow beneath your head, the hush of air against your skin. Tulliver's voice reaches you, faint now but smiling. The path home will be easy. Just follow the rhythm of your breath. It knows the way. You nod, though your eyes are already heavy. The mouse mumbles something that sounds like goodbye, but it's lost in a yawn so wide it could swallow the stars. You let your eyes close, and as you drift, you feel the dragon's final gift blooming quietly inside you, a small, golden heartbeat of calm, steady, warm, waiting. The sound of your breath and his become one. The world exhales, and everything, every hill, every lantern, every whisper of mist, sinks softly into sleep. Time slips away like silk through your fingers. When you open your eyes again, you're back beneath the twilight sky. The stars are still, the air gentle, the Kingdom of Yawns spread out in drowsy perfection before you. The ferry waits at the edge of the lake of silken dreams, its lantern already lit. You can see the faint reflection of Tulliver's smile in the water. He bows his great head once. Good night, traveler. May your waking hours be as kind as your dreams. The mouse lifts a tiny paw. Save us a hammock, it says softly, just in case we visit again. You laugh, the sound barely more than a sigh. Then you step into the ferry, the cushions warm and familiar beneath you. The lake accepts you with a single, gentle ripple. The lantern light trembles once, then steadies into the soft pulse of an endless dream. The ferry drifts quietly across the lake of silken dreams. The water is so still it seems, made of glass, reflecting not the world above, but the hush within it. The lantern at the bow flickers once, then steadies, casting a soft, amber path that floats along with you. Tulliver rows with slow, perfect rhythm, not to reach a destination, but to keep the calm alive. Each pull of his leaf-shaped oar stirs the lake into sleepy ripples that widen and fade before they can make a sound. The mouse is fast asleep in your lap, its little paws curled under its chin, its breathing matching the rhythm of the water. You rest one hand over it gently, feeling its tiny heartbeat, so calm, so steady, so utterly at peace. The air tastes faintly of honey and warm milk. The stars are lower now, their light softening to the color of candle flame. Even the moon seems to blink slower, as if the entire sky is deciding to nap one last time before dawn. Tulliver hums softly, the same melody he sang the first time you crossed this lake. You realize it's not a tune exactly, but the sound of something enormous and kind, learning how to rest. You've done well, he says quietly, his voice barely breaking the surface of silence. Few who wander here remember how to walk softly through their own dreams. You look up at him, and the smile that forms on your lips feels effortless. I think I finally understand, you whisper. He tilts his head. And what's that? That peace isn't a place, you say slowly. It's a way of breathing. Tulliver's eyes gleam faintly in the lantern light. A wise answer. The dragon will be pleased. He dreams better when his travelers learn that truth. He dips his oar again, and the lake hums back in response, a sound so deep and slow it might have been there all along. The far shore approaches not quickly, but in the same way dreams end, so gradually that you don't notice until you're already standing in the middle of the morning light. The mists part to reveal the valley you first walked through, the glowing mushrooms, the cobblestone path, the endless hush of peace. It's all still there, unchanged, as though time forgot to move while you were gone. A warm wind rolls across the water, carrying the scent of lavender and starlight. It curls around your shoulders like a blanket, a familiar presence, the dragon's breath, following you even here to the edge of waking. Tulliver slows the ferry and rests his paddle across his knees. He looks up at the pale horizon where dawn hovers but does not yet rise. This is where I leave you, he says. The kingdom will fade soon, but the calm you've gathered will not. The mouse stirs, rubbing its eyes. Fade? It murmurs. Where are we going now? Tulliver smiles. Where everyone goes when the dream has given what it came to give. Back to the world that needs their quiet. He looks at you, his gaze kind and unhurried. Don't be afraid when the light changes. It only means that morning has remembered you. You nod, feeling the weightless warmth still pulsing inside your chest. The dragon's gift, the soft heartbeat of stillness that will never leave you. The ferry brushes gently against the dock. You step out onto the cobblestone path, the air cool beneath your bare feet. The lake behind you glows faintly, its surface shimmering with leftover starlight, tiny echoes of the lanterns you helped to light. The mouse clambers up to your shoulder again, yawning so wide it squeaks. Do you think we'll ever come back? It asks sleepily. You smile. I think we never really leave. Tulliver gives a deep, approving nod. That's the right answer. He lifts a clawed hand in farewell. The lake ripples once, and the ferry begins to drift backward into mist, its lantern glowing like a star that refuses to go out. You stand there for a while, watching. The world is perfectly still, caught in the soft pause between dream and dawn. Somewhere above, the dragon exhales one final time, and his breath rolls gently through the valley, rustling the grass, stirring the trees, touching your face with the warmth of gratitude. The words are unspoken, but you feel them all the same. Sleep well when you must. Wake gently when you can, and wherever you go, carry the hush with you. You take one last deep breath, and as you exhale, the valley, the dragon's hum, the lake, the stars, all fade like a sigh, returning home. In their place is quiet, not emptiness, but fullness, the sound of your own breathing, the pulse of your calm heart, the soft whisper of your body at rest. You are warm, you are safe, you are home. The last thing you hear, before the waking world opens its eyes again, is the smallest, happiest sound, the mouse yawning beside your ear and mumbling, best nap ever, and the world agrees as the Kingdom of Yawns drifts gently back into the dragon's dream, waiting for the next quiet traveler to find it. The end. You are calm, you are safe, you are loved, and the night, like an old friend, waits patiently for your next gentle dream.